In this section, we're going to go over printing the large 3-foot by 4-foot map that plans and operations request for every search. There's a setup that we need to do, or at least some things we need to check before we start the print. And that is, 1, you have to be signed on as hastysquad@gmail.com. A normal user only has rights to print up to about 8.5 and 11-inch maps. Signing on as the Hasty Squad allows us to now go ahead and print up to 3 feet by 4 feet. The other thing that we need to check is to make sure that we are signed into CCC SAR Mobile. This network is what gives us access to our printers. You might be on some other network and still be able to access the internet, but you will not be able to find the printers correctly. So those two things are required for setup. Okay, so when we want to print the map, we come up to print and we say print to PDF or JPG. This brings up a copy of our original screen and puts this red box in the center of it. Now the red box, we can move it by grabbing the red dot at the center. We can place it, and we can size this red box by grabbing a corner and expanding it out or shrinking it back down. Now because we are working with fixed dimensions, in this case 36 by 48, we can't just grab a side and move it out or grab a top and move it up like we can with some windows. We're dealing with some fixed dimensions. Okay? But what we can do is we can change the orientation, for example, from portrait to landscape. And this gives us a slightly different look. Okay? But before we print anything, normally what I will do, I will go to 8.5 by 11, and I will set in the area that I want to print. Now, the area does not need to be centered on the ICP. It could be centered anywhere. For sake of this demo, I'm centering it on the ICP, but it could be anywhere. And then we'll have our sizes. We'll set our sizes. We'll print the 8.5 by 11, get our search manager's approval that yes, this gives him or her exactly what they need to work with, and then we'll go ahead and generate. So now for the 3-foot by 4-foot, we set 36 by 48. Our scale is not fixed. A fixed scale means we don't grab these corners and move it around. We like to size it exactly what we're looking for, so we don't use a fixed scale. We definitely want a geospatial PDF because this is also what we will use to download to Avenza for those people that want to track, to create their tracks on Avenza instead of a GPS. I generally like to set the UTM lines. I'll set them at auto. Fill polygons. Yes, that means if we have a polygon drawn on the screen, this will fill in the interior part of it with the same color. For example, it allows us to see the full area in one color that an assignment would show. Icon size. If you just do a 1x icon size on a 36 by 48 inch map, that icon will just get lost. It'll be way too small. So generally go with either 2, which works most of the time. Possibly you'd look at 4. I wouldn't go any bigger than 4. Generally I will use 2. Okay? PDF management, we take the defaults, we save it to our account. We don't need to keep it for longer than 7 days because we can always regenerate it. Okay? No need to load from, No need to save as. So these we just take the defaults. The QR code, the system will create its own QR code. The only thing that we might do occasionally is give the map a title, and we don't need to. I'm just calling this one Larry Search. And we'll generate the PDF by clicking here. Now when we generate a PDF, when we click this, it normally takes, depending on how many layers we have on the map, it might take 2 to 3 minutes to generate the map. And then because it'll be about 20 megabytes, it might take us another 2 to 3 minutes to get the map downloaded. Our plotter, once we get the map downloaded, it takes 2 to 3 minutes to send it to the plotter, and then the plotter will take about 5 minutes to print it. So you can see that by the time we start the map until the map is actually printed, it's going to be between 10 and 15 minutes. So we try to get the map started very early in the setup for the search. Okay? Because I'm not going to take that amount of time, I've already pre-generated the map that we would get off of that. So now that the map is up, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say download the map. And it'll ask, what do I want to do? I want to save it. It's going to call it document PDF. If there's one out there already, this will change the map, the name to document1.pdf. Or if there's 2 or 3 out there, it could name it to document4, document5 PDF. Say OK. We do not print from the browser. Printing from the browser almost never works correctly. When the map is downloaded, you'll see this blue arrow show up. It'll be bouncing up and down while the map is downloading. Once it's here, it'll be solid. You'll see this. So we can click on that and it'll say, okay, document 30. At this point, we go ahead and open the document, which opens it in Adobe PDF. Now from Adobe, we can then go ahead and print. Coming over here to the print. Now, our plotter for printing is SAR Plotter 3. Generally, the properties are already set. We do not want to print in grayscale, so we want to make sure that's off. We look down here. Normally, we'll check our size, make sure it's 48 by 36, that we can see right here. If not, we'll make sure that either fit or actual size. One or other of these, we'll put it directly on our paper to fit it correctly. And looking at the picture, if it says we're printing 48 by 36 and the picture looks good, then we can go ahead and print. And again, this would take about 5 minutes from the time you start the printer. You can say go ahead and print 2 because generally they will be requesting 2 of these prints. Okay, again, I'm not going to do this. It's going to be a waste of paper and ink. But these are the things you want to check. That it's the 48 by 36 when you either fit or actual size to make sure how it's going to look on the paper, and it's SAR Plotter 3 is the plotter you're working with. Okay? That is how we print our maps.